At least 19 Palestinians, including children, have died from hunger in the past 24 hours in Gaza. That's according to a doctor at Al-Aqsa hospital in Deir, al-Balah, who says the health system is collapsing, staff are too weak to work, patients are starving, and even infant formula is run out completely. The situation is so dire, the UN's top humanitarian official for the Palestinian territories, Jonathan Whittle, is now in Deir al-Balah and says he's staying put amid escalating Israeli airstrikes. Meanwhile, the Israeli military has issued new evacuation orders for Deir al-Balah, where no ground offensive has previously taken place. People have been told to move towards al-Mawasi on the coast as Israeli expands operations into new areas. Now we are joined by guest Kobi Michael. He's a senior researcher at the INSS and Misgav Institute, joining us live from Israel. Thank you for joining us today. Welcome to NewsX World. Now, Kobi, what more can you tell us about how is this situation covered in Israeli media?
Hello, thank you for having me. The situation is actually the continuation of the military operation that began in March 18 after the end of the last ceasefire. And actually the military campaign continues because Hamas continues refusing to sign on the agreement for the next ceasefire and the release of the hostages. Israel declared that if Hamas will continue refusing to sign on the agreement, the military campaign will continue until the full occupation of the Gaza Strip. And this is exactly what is going on now on the ground in Deir al-Balah area. By the way, this is the first time since October 7 that Israel attacks in a military campaign this area. Because in the past we thought that, or we had some intelligence indications that Hamas keeps or holds the hostages in this area, so we avoided from attacking this area. I assume that if we are attacking now this area, maybe we have different intelligence. Anyway, this is another phase of our military campaign.
And Professor, what are the ethical and legal responsibilities of the international community when civilians, including children, are dying from hunger in the conflict zones like Gaza?
First of all, children are not dying from hunger. There is no starvation in the Gaza Strip. These are the nonsense and the propaganda and the narrative that Hamas tries to echo. And unfortunately, some elements in the international media and among international aid organizations are willing to adapt or to internalize. The number of the trucks of humanitarian aid that enter on a daily basis to the Gaza Strip is much higher than the number of the trucks that used to enter to the Gaza Strip before October 7th, before the war. There is no any shortage of humanitarian aid. There are 4 distribution centers that are run by the GHF, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation.
Professor, if so, then yes. What would you explain, or how would you explain about the visuals that we are getting if those were not the case, that children are starving in Gaza?
There are two explanations. The first one is AI, and the second one is that those people, mainly those people that are filmed as fatalities or casualties, are people that were killed or injured by Hamas itself, because Hamas does its utmost efforts in order to prevent people from reaching to the distribution centers, because they know, Hamas knows, that when people will get their humanitarian aid from these centers, Hamas will lost its control over the population and the territory. And Hamas doesn't hesitate to murder its own people in order to prevent them from reaching to these distribution centers. And therefore, when they inform about fatalities and casualties, first of all, they exaggerate. Secondly, they do not distinguish between terrorists and civilians. And thirdly, they blame immediately the IDF, where actually they were the ones who killed their own people in order to prevent them from reaching to these centers.
Professor, thank you for sharing your insight. Please stay with us as we stay in the region.